Hi friends, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be discussing what are your deepest desires and how to fulfill them. And we're also going to be going in depth with what's holding you back and how can you maintain your desires, because once you do know what your desires are and how you want to fulfill them, you also have to sustain and maintain them to see results, right? So we're going to be looking into all of that. I do expect this to be a lengthy video, so do get comfortable, go grab some snacks or just something to drink, and you can always feel free to like pause this, come back when you're able to at your own terms. So go ahead and pick a pile. Hi there, Pal One. Welcome to your reading. We're going to be discussing what are your deepest desires and how to fulfill them as seen in the intro or in the title. Then we're going to be looking at what's holding you back specifically and how can you maintain your desires as they continue to unravel and grow, and as you continue to realize what it is that you really want out of this lifetime. I feel like it's so important for all of us to take a moment to just reflect on ourselves as individuals. We get so caught up with work, we get so caught up with our jobs, we get so caught up with projects, we get so caught up in the social world as well, and we forget to look inward to meet ourselves and remember that, hey, just as much as anybody else, I'm also growing as an individual too. I don't know why I felt like I had to like say that, so maybe that's like a message for somebody here. Like if you've been overworking and you just need to take time to focus on yourself, like I feel like that is spirit saying it is important to focus on yourself to get the best that you can, the best that you deserve. All right, but let's begin. We have Eros. Also, I love this deck. I'm gonna have it linked below so you can get it if you want. I do recommend it though. Nothing will come of the situation. Void of course, Moon. And Love. I commit to the practice of seeing the good in all things. Okay, so very contrasting energies here. And I say that because on one hand we have very sexual, loving, romantic, and they don't need to be romantic like you're with somebody else per se. This could definitely just have to do with yourself, and I'll go like way deeper into that too. And I don't think for most of you this has to do with anybody else. I actually think this may have to do with yourself, even though it says love and Eros is like the god of like love, and you know, I think that this goes beyond other people. But I mean, if you're here and you want a romantic relationship, feel free to keep watching. Like we'll touch base on like everything here. So, you know, I don't want to like leave out any message for anybody. Why I say it's conflicting, because yeah, the Void of course Moon is definitely a very dark period of the soul, it's a period in which there's so much illumination, yet we feel so dark, we feel so shrouded, we feel so like confused and alone in this. I mean, you can see this with like the moon, like how illuminated it is and like how dark it is like in the picture itself. So it's making me think that there's a lot that's been illuminated either within you this past year is what I heard. So I don't know if like pile one, like if you've just been on an intense growth or healing journey for about a year now, and there's been a lot of, I heard recent truths, so maybe this was like recent, maybe there was like a lot of truths that were realized. There's a lot of illumination surrounding you and how you're showing up in your life. There's a lot of realization of what it is that you actually want and what it is that you won't tolerate anymore. So I almost kind of feel like for those of you that are not desiring a romantic partnership, and if you are, this could still resonate. I feel like you're realizing that what was happening before is not working anymore. And what you did tolerate before was not coming from a place of love. That's the feeling I'm getting here. Give me a minute to feel the vibes out, but I am feeling it. I feel like a lot of you have just realized that it's been too dark, it's been too hard, it's been too rough. And maybe like you've realized that you were attached to a lot of things outside of your control because a part of you wanted to feel safe and secure and try to recreate that by holding on to things that were hurtful. And it's almost as if like spirit is telling me that the more you held on to these attachments and these negative ways of feeling, thinking, and being, in a way it was safe for you, because one, that is what you had in your childhood, and then two, it's predictable, right? If you've had a lot of these situations where you were, one, neglecting yourself, or you were in a emotionally unavailable partnership, or you've just been experiencing toxic family members, or, you know, if a lot of those patterns were repeated, I almost feel like spirit is saying, in a way, judging by those past experiences, your brain is looking to relive that because it's predictable and it's easy, and because you can get out each time, but also it's still happening. You're not fully out with. I hope that this makes sense. You're recreating scenarios that only you could predict because you know how it'll go each time, and because of that, it feels familiar and safe, basically. And I think that a part of you has realized that this isn't healthy, that this isn't the person that I want to be. There's a feeling of like, I don't want to be this person anymore. Like, I'm growing out of this shell, and I'm realizing that this current shell that I'm in is just really hurtful. And you know what's interesting with this Eros card is that I didn't even realize that these were a pair of lips, but they are. So I almost don't know if, like, although Eros is like a very romantic card to get, I'm not so focused on the romantic aspect of your life, because this is not a romantic reading. But I'm not gonna lie, like these are two like romantic cards to get. But in a deeper sense, I feel that either there was someone who said something to you, maybe your past partners, or somebody recent, or maybe there was a situation that went down, it didn't go well, or maybe there was like some person that was just not the best in how they chose to react towards you. And it's almost as if you have to heal from those wounds, those narratives, those expectations that were placed on you in this connection, relationship, or this, it could be even be with a family member, you know? It's systemic, is what spirit is telling me. These beliefs, these core beliefs that you're not good enough, that you have to feel ashamed of yourself. It's systemic because it comes from things that are outside of us. And then later, we grow up and we want to recreate those scenarios because it's the ones that we feel more safe in, because we know what happens. We know how people would react, and in a way it gives us a false sense of control, even though the situation entirely is unhealthy, right? Excuse me as I drink some of my tea. There's almost like someone's word, or it could be many people, but there's someone's word that you took to heart here that was, it once really mattered to you and now it's just hurting you. Yeah. And I know that this reading is about deepest desires and how to fulfill them. Spirit's just coming through with a lot of guidance right now. Spirit's just coming through with a lot of like messages for you. And I don't know if you were unable to connect with spirit for some time. Like, let's say you're going through a dark period of the soul, you're feeling very disconnected from spirit and the universe and your faith, which is honestly, it happens a lot when you're going through an intense awakening period, or you're just going through an intense period of growth and inner work. We feel disconnected before we feel connected, right? So I don't know if like all these messages were kind of like spirit's telling me that they were backlogged, like they were just kind of, they are there, they were filling up the system, but you just couldn't see it, right? It's almost like I'm picturing a computer, the messages are coming through, but I'm not seeing it because a different tab is opened. So it's like behind that tab, if that makes sense. It's like you need to shift your perception or your attention to see those messages, right? It's kind of like that. But enough with the guidance, because we need to have this question answered. What are your deepest desires? So spirit, can we move on to that, please? All right. I think your deepest desire is you want your words to be valued. You want to be heard. You want to be supported, pile one. And honestly, who wouldn't? I mean, it's important. It's important to have those in every connection and in the people around you, in the world, to feel supported, to feel like we are one, right? Obviously with a sense of boundaries, right? But I think what you really want, your deepest desire is, okay, I think for some of you guys, it is a romantic partnership. But spirit, I want to go beyond that. I want to go beyond romance right now, because I think that there's a message that spirit is trying to convey to me beyond romantic relationship. And there's, okay, first they want me to talk about what your deepest desire is first, and then I'll link it. Okay, so I think for some of y'all want people to be infatuated with you. You want specifically your person to be infatuated with you. You want your person to have eyes only for you. And while, yes, that should absolutely be, I mean, why not? I mean, if you're in a partnership, they should have only eyes for you, right? I think what spirit is saying, there's nothing wrong with wanting someone to, of course, choose you. I mean, that's why you're in a partnership, right? I think what spirit is saying, where is this feeling of infatuation coming from? Why do you want this person to be infatuated with you? Why do you want them to be so obsessed or focused only on you, prioritizing only you? I'm not saying that your partner should not prioritize or focus on you at all whatsoever. I think what spirit is saying, are you in a partnership because you feel like you can meet yourself and therefore you can meet this other person? Or are you wanting a partnership because you are desiring what you haven't given yourself yet? That attention, that nurturing, that love, that same amount of infatuation you would want with someone else, right? So it's almost like spirit saying, like, you gotta give that attention to yourself, that obsession with yourself. You gotta be obsessed with yourself first, right? And I almost feel like your deepest desire is to have something bloom. And I think it's more so in yourself. I think you're needing something from yourself, pile one, that you've been searching for a long time within other people, especially romantic partnerships, not limited to. I don't know why I just heard special edition of the day. Did some of y'all, like, I'm not accusing anybody here or judging or shaming. This is a completely safe space. Like, okay, have some of y'all had like a wandering eye or experienced that with somebody else? It's the way I understand like how spirit is telling me is there was somebody here likes when the eyes are on them. Somebody here likes when the intention is just all on them, like the sunlight. And they get that from many different people. Whether it be like, it doesn't need to be limited to like just romantic partners or options in general. Like it could just be like anything. But it's coming from a place of insecurity and not from a place of like, I truly, truly deserve this and I can hold my own. You know what I mean? It's coming from a place of like, if they see me, I am seen. If I have this attention on me, it means that I am worthy. If I made it this far with people and in this social community, I am far up top. So I almost don't know if somebody here just has like this disillusioned way of thinking that if I have all these people's attention on me or their eyes or just their attention, I am worth it. I am worth it all. And if I don't have it, I am nothing. Pile one. I think spirit is, and this may not be true for all of you, I think that what spirit is saying is that does need to be healed and that does need to be looked more closely into you, because your desires are that you want community, you want oneness, you want to be seen, heard, valued, especially your word. You want your word to be as important as anybody else, and you want it to be perceived that way. There's something about the way that you speak. There's something about the messages that you have for the community as a whole. There's something about your advice, your wisdom, your perception, your intelligence, and I think that you are intelligent. And I think that spirit is saying why this is coming up, why spirit wants you to look into this infatuation issue, or this if I have like everyone's eyes on me, then I am the prize. They want you to look deeper into that because it is interfering with your desires, right? And it's only coming up to be healed, and it's only coming up to be looked closely at, and it's only coming up to be nurtured, because if you weren't aware of it, how are you supposed to get closer to your desires, right? So I almost feel like spirit's saying don't take it personal. Like, don't take it personal that this is being said, and like if you are taking it personal, just, you can always click off, take a breath, come back if you want to. Obviously these readings are meant to go very in depth. They're not your typical as much as like as much as I call y'all my friends, I also know I have a job here to do, so don't shoot the messenger, okay? Yes, there are tough things that are going to be said. There are lots of illuminations in these readings, and you know, maybe there are moments where it doesn't click. Maybe you're just like, what the heck, that has nothing to do with me. But when it does click and when it does hurt, it's okay to like take a moment to just like breathe out and return later if you'd like. But the point of these readings are to help you grow as individuals and help you get aware of what's going on beneath the surface, so that I can be my best self. And how am I the one holding myself back, right? How can I hold myself accountable and then heal and get to where it is I said I want to be? How do I make that part of me happy too? How do I just learn to listen to myself? That is the point of these readings, okay? So if you don't like what's being said, you can click off, probably watch another video, or you can come back whenever you want to. It'll still be here, whatever you decide to do. So, all right. I want to go back to these cards though. You know, I feel like your deepest desire is you just want to view the world from an easy lens. You know, in this pile, I feel like there's a lot of disillusionment. And I'm having to like, I notice I'm having to, and I'm not like shaming or judging out. It's just like something I'm picking up and noticing. I'm having to break down a lot of these disillusions to get closer to what your desire really is. I find that very interesting. And there's nothing wrong with being afraid of the things that we desire. Sometimes it's scary to have exactly what we want, because what does that mean? That we're lovable? Sometimes it's scary. Sometimes it's scary when good things happen to us, but it's perceived fear. It's a perceived threat, you know? So, and I really feel like you guys, like Pile 1, like my friends, like you guys really want to see the world from a cute, loving, it's easy, it's stress-free, it's perfect, like that kind of lens. And I almost feel like Spirit is saying, like, they keep pointing out the contrast of these two cards. Like, maybe some of y'all are really, really going through it right now and are not wanting to see the truth of the situation, how much it's hurting and affecting you. And Spirit's just saying, look at these two color contrasts. Like, this is just completely dark as shit, and then like this one's just like purple and loving and bright. And there's something about you're not able to get closer to your desires because you are too busy neglecting your emotional needs and the truth of a situation right now. Yeah, your attention might be on focusing on things that are hurting you, and your attention might be being used to self-neglect, right? Or maybe we're focusing on people who don't help us. Maybe we're focusing on people who don't inspire us. Maybe we're focusing on scary thoughts. And I feel like Spirit is saying that there's a lot of perceived threat, perceived fear that's blocking your way to getting closer to your desires right now. Yeah. And I feel like for some of y'all who do want a romantic partnership, you guys might be stressing that why hasn't this come through yet? Why haven't I met this person? Why aren't they here? I should be in a romantic partnership already if it's been a while. I think that Spirit is saying there's still a lot of disillusioned, disorganized way of thinking here that is limiting your perception to a situation, especially yourself and how you view yourself. There is still belief that are holding you back in terms of how you see yourself and who you could be. And I think the Spirit is saying, not your fault. It's what you grew up with. It's the people around you that taught us these things. It's the people that, without our explicit permission, put these things in our head when you think about it, right? And this isn't to foster more blame or anger. I mean, we can feel angry. The point is to realize that maybe the unhealthy family members we were around, maybe the unhealthy partners we were around, hurt us, right, without our explicit permission. And I know it sounds weird to say, like, why would they need my permission so that they can hurt me? That's not the point. The point is like, they hurt us. Oh, that's a loud siren. I apologize, y'all. I'm right by the street. Like, it's like right there. So I can hear everything. But back to what I was saying, What was I saying? Spirit, is it gonna come back? Oh, okay. The people who hurt us, it's like they specifically put things in our head. And mind you, we're just little kids. We're just growing, learning to grow, not even adults. And mind you, we are grown up with all this hurt, these narratives, these perceptions that weren't ours to begin with, that we had no say about. So mind you, you gotta look at yourself like through the eyes of your inner child. I was a kid when this happened. I was a kid when they said these things. I was a kid when I experienced or witnessed this event. And here's how it affected me and impacted me, right? And what's interesting is I feel like this spiritual community has a way of blaming the person who experienced trauma or really difficult or hard situations. And I feel like what I want to say is, yes, we are to be held accountable for our behaviors and our actions, how it affects us and other people. Yes, absolutely. But we are not the first and primary cause of all of our suffering. It's what we were grown up around with, you know? But anyway, moving on from my little spiel. I feel like your desire is to honestly just be with somebody or be with the people that foster growth, community, and to see things from a more peaceful standpoint in your life. And what's interesting is Spirit is telling me that what you want from people right now is a crutch for what you really want. Okay, it's like you have these desires of wanting other people to be there for you and wanting other people to rescue you, protect you, and love you, which is okay. But I feel like Spirit is saying you can want that, but there's something you need to realize first, is that maybe it's like Spirit is saying they are the crutch of the situation, not the foundation. Yeah, I hope that makes sense. You are the foundation, right? But it's like you're leaning on them, and eventually, like, you know, they're not saying it's gonna fall apart, right? Because the people who really truly love us and can experience unconditional love will be there for us and will hold us up, right? They will support us. I think what Spirit is saying, there's an excess focus on what these other people could do for you instead of what you could do for yourself right now. And I think that you guys have such a beautiful, beautiful dream of community and thriving with other people and creating a solid foundation in relationships and creating a peaceful environment in your home or having a home of your own. I feel like you guys desire such community and such privacy, peace, love, and just being with the person you're meant to be with. Okay, it sounds so beautiful, and it is beautiful, and maybe we're meant to have that, right? I think that Spirit is saying you can have that, but how are you limiting yourself still? How are you not meeting yourself, right? But let's get into the tarot cards to talk about this more. Spirit, because now I feel like we're kind of getting into the second question, like what's holding you back? Oh, okay, we're just gonna, yeah, these cards are so beautiful. They're from the same creator of this deck, Kim Kranz. I fucking love her artwork, okay? Shout out to Kim Kranz. But all right, let's see, what's holding you back, pile one, from your desires? Ah, there you go. This makes sense. Look at this, the moon. Are you kidding me? All right, and we have the moon right here too. I mean, this is like a moon deck, but okay, we're gonna put this here. Okay, so let's talk about this. Oh, I just flipped over the deck and we had the Two of Cups. Interesting. And I know I was talking a little bit about like relationships here. I strongly feel like this is less to do with somebody returning and more so about how you view partnership and how you view relationships and how you yourself enter them. So right away, I'm gonna say what's holding you back is your fears, man. Your mental prison, your doubts, your anxieties, your uncertainties. Maybe you're looking too closely at your past and trying to say, okay, if this happened before, it might as well happen again. Like, I have no control over this. And that's also creating your own mental prison and taking your free will out of a situation, which is unhealthy, okay? I feel like when we are in our mental prisons, it's so easy to get locked up in there. Obviously, it's called prison. But we also have the ability to like turn the lock, or like turn the key, right? I mean, the key is in us all along. We just didn't see it. So as much as we have the ability to put ourselves in prisons of our own, we can take ourselves out of it. If we got in there, we have to take ourselves out. That is what Spirit is saying. And I believe that. And I feel like what's happening here is there's a lot of fear about intimacy. There's a lot of fear about intimacy with yourself. The thing is, you might be really good with loving other people. And it's so funny because I also came to the same realization recently too. So you're not alone in this, pile one. It's hard. It's hard to realize these things, right? But I feel like what Spirit's saying is you're so good at loving everybody else but yourself. You're so good. You're so attentive. You're so present with everyone else but yourself. And I think that's the very thing that led to the crux of the situation or in your life right now, is that you're so there for everybody else. You're so focused on being reciprocal and filling everyone else's cup that people are just not filling yours. And why is this happening, right? So I do feel like your deepest desires are to you want to get comfortable with people. You want to feel safe in your relationships. You want to feel nurtured, reciprocated, and seen, which we all deserve. We really do. I think the Spirit is saying is it starts with your mind first. It starts with the relationship you have with yourself first and foremost, is what they're saying. And what's holding you back is I almost feel like you may feel like you have a decision to make. You may feel like there's splitting paths right now. You may feel you don't know what choice to make. You don't know where to go, what to do. You may feel lost. So maybe it's less of a decision and more so like, I don't know where to go from here. And instead of like weighing your pros and cons, I feel like you're very focused heavily like on the cons of moving anywhere in your life right now. Like your mind is just kind of seeking out all the negatives of this pathway and how it could hurt you rather than influence you to grow. Because the point is to not avoid the hurt, but when the hurt does happen, to meet ourselves in that moment, right? It's how we meet ourselves, it's how we respond to ourselves that matters the most. It's not about avoiding the situation or the pain or the moment. It's about how do we take care of ourselves when it happens, right? Because if you think about it, Pile One, it's like in our childhood, we are often, when we're traumatized or when we're hurt, most of us are left alone to deal with that. And that's what causes the hurt even more. Whereas if we were supported in the first place, you would handle the hurt a lot better, right? So there's something about fixing your coping skills here, or just renewing them, or finding different coping skills here for what you're experiencing. But let's look into how you can maintain your desires. So Spirit, how can Pile One maintain their desires of peace and love and unity? Because I feel like that's what y'all really want. Three of Pentacles, look at this. I love the color scheme here. It's oh my god, it's like blending perfectly with the pop of color. I love her art. Oh my god. All right, Three of Pentacles. So how can you maintain your desires? So it's interesting that we have the Moon here followed by the Three of Pentacles. What that says to me is that how you can maintain your desires, it all starts from foundations. It all starts from inner security. It all starts from the ability to meet yourself first and to branch out to resources here. The Three of Pentacles is normally a social card, but what I'm feeling for you guys and what Spirit is saying, you can absolutely ask for support and help with the people around you as long as you trust them. Go ahead. I feel like Spirit is saying for you specifically how to maintain your desires of unity, love, and peace is you need to work on your systemic beliefs about love and peace and how that should be and how you give that to yourself. Yeah, it's all connected because like with this Three of Pentacles, I'm looking at the lines and how the pentacles just like connect, and it's making me think about like a family tree and how thoughts, beliefs, and generational trauma just like passed down. So I feel like for you guys, like Pile One, and it's exhausting, right? It's exhausting when you have to be the one to work through these generational trauma wounds. It's like, why do I have to be the one to do it, right? It's almost like that. And I think the Spirit is saying, but you don't have to be the one to do it. No one said you had to. But if you do want a better life, if you do want better for yourself, which I believe, Pile One, I believe you're aware of that you can get better. You can't just You can't scrap your past, like brush it under the rug, and emerge as this butterfly, right? I think the spirit is suggesting a lot of private alone time, reflection and inner thought, and inner work to move closer to your desires. The more that you release this baggage that was never yours to carry, the more you release these narratives that were never yours to begin with, you get closer to your desires of peace and love and unity and what that means for you. So it's almost like you're coming back home to yourself. I think that's your deepest desire here. You desire a lot of people, but truly you desire union in yourself. That is a banger, spirit. That's a banger. But back to this. I also feel like there's a need to see the problem ahead of you, because this mountain represents problems and issues. And if we see the pentacles below here, for me, that what makes me think of like, what I understand from that is there's a need to look at the problem head on and to start thinking of ways of, okay, how can I work with this problem? How do I overcome this mountain? How do I overcome this issue? And how do I meet myself in the middle? What do I need to change? What needs to be worked on? Where can I start to feel more happier and lighter? And where can I start to meet my own emotional needs? That is what is going on here. And I think that's what's going to help you maintain your desires and get closer to them. So, well, actually, although the question was like how you can maintain your desires, I feel like for pile 1 here, the question for you is how can you get closer to them, not away, not detached, not disintegrated, and not disillusioned. How can you get closer to seeing your desire fully and clearly on its own value, apart from everything and everyone else, apart from your past? That is what's happening. That's like the message. That's just like the core point here. So I feel like a lot of you maybe have come into this reading or this pile just expecting for it to be about a romantic relationship. I don't know. I'm just like picking that up. Or you were expecting it to be about friendship or like people around you. But I feel like Spirit is saying it is about you. It's about union with yourself. It's about harmony within yourself that allow you to have harmony and union with other people. It's how can you meet yourself first to meet other people, right? I almost feel like you guys have made a lot of time for people who didn't make time for you, who wouldn't make space for you as well, which was very detrimental and hurtful to your existence, right, as human beings. And it's so easy to want to please other people at the expense of ours, which is why we have to heal from that. But let's get you some advice from my pile 1, Spirit. Oh, I love this Ace of Pentacles. Okay. Oh my God, look at this. Okay, 2 circles. Oh my God. Okay, I love that. I fucking love that. Synchronicities are unreal in this pile. What I want to say. Okay, as advice for y'all, pile 1, Spirit is saying there is a lot that has ended within yourself and probably ended with other people too, but it's also simultaneously beginning. And I don't think that you're there in terms of your perception of seeing how this beginning is starting. I feel like you've been focused on like the uncertainties, the loss, the grief, which in your own time you can process. I think what Spirit is saying here is there is going to be a gradual perception shift from what you lost, from what you do have, and to what you possibly can have in the future. It's gradual, but it is going to happen. And I think as advice, I think that what Spirit is saying, your core beliefs are being dismantled. The things you thought were okay and comfortable and healthy are being dismantled. There's a lot of disillusion. Your reality feels like it's splitting. And I feel like Spirit is saying as advice, stay grounded. Continue to nurture yourself and take your time healing. Take your time to process. You can enjoy your life simultaneously. Try to bring some of that joy and that happiness in, but stay committed to yourself and stay committed to the beliefs. We have a lot of inner beliefs in us that need our attention. And I think what Spirit is saying, there's a lot that's going to be shifting. There's a lot of cycles coming up to be closed off. There's a lot of cycles opening up. There's a lot of cycles that are going to be swinging around for some time. Cycles specifically having to do with your heart, your vulnerability, your intimacy with that, and trusting yourself. And I also believe this might maybe show up as like friends maybe exiting out of your life, or just like losing people closest to you. Not like isn't death, but like I don't mean to scare anybody. It's just maybe connections just end because someone is not available, or you're realizing that they're not available and you don't want that anymore. So I do feel like Spirit is saying it is for the better, because now you're coming into your heart-centered truth, and because of that, a lot of things are going to be shifting around you. You can't want to be better and simultaneously hold on to things that are wearing you down, is what Spirit is saying too. So there is going to be a lot of massive shifts coming up, and if not already, like they will come up. And I don't mean to say this to threaten or scare anybody. You can literally just take your time and breathe and find some better coping mechanisms, right? And the more you trust yourself, it is going to get easier. There's going to be less resistance to this process and less stress in response to this. I feel like Spirit is saying that there's a lot. They're showing me like a baby tree, and why I have that visual is because like the limbs here, they're showing me a baby tree. It's already sprouted, like it's out of the ground, but it's not yet grown to its optimal I don't know, height, stature, maturity, and they're showing me like a baby tree. That's you right now. And I feel like Spirit is saying, and although it takes a tree very long to grow, you're not limited to this time frame. You can grow as fast or as slow when you want to, right? In terms of your healing. But I feel like Spirit is saying that you're just learning to sprout, like your branches. You're just learning to stick up out of the ground. You've been so hidden. You've been underneath for too long. You've been living under a rock, quite literally, for too long. When it comes to the things that you desire, you want, you love, and you've been accommodating so many of these past traumas and these past unhealthy things that are now dead, and now it's time to grow out of that environment and into life where the sun is out and where the clouds are and where like you can feel the wind. That is what's happening right now. That is where you are. And although it may not look like it, think about it. If that seed was like in the ground, you're all around this darkness, your roots are starting to spread underneath first, but you're feeding into too much of these unhealthy connections and unhealthy ways of being, so that eventually when you sprout up, you gotta taste life again, right? You need to taste what life is like for you, not just for anybody else, not at anyone's convenience. So that is your advice, pile one, and I really hope that this reading helped you gain some clarity on your desires and how to fulfill them. I know it turned into a bit of a guidance reading in the beginning, but I hope that that was not unhelpful in any kind of way. I feel like it needed to be said. But thank you so much for stopping by, and I hope you have a great day or night. Bye! Hi there, pile 2. Welcome to your reading. We're going to be discussing what are your deepest desires and how to fulfill them. And we're also going to be looking at what is holding you back and how can you maintain your desires. So just a disclaimer, if it gets rough or hard to hear, you can always take a moment. You can always click off, and you don't have to sit and listen through it if it's uncomfortable. All right, it's just in your own time. But first we have the shadow. Balance spirituality and practicality, full moon in Pisces. And surrender. I can release my need to control. All right, let's talk about this energy because it is incredibly interesting. Right away, I want to note that we have a lot of duality here, even with the symbols here and then the fish. There's a lot of like duality here. So I don't know, like pile 2, if you're having trouble with balancing your past version of you versus the present. And the thing is, I feel like pile 2, you have a lot of awareness on where you are in your life now versus where you used to be. It's just a matter of like, how can I integrate who I am now and also work with my past but not get so attached to my past. There's almost this feeling of like, I know that I've healed enough to be where I'm at now, but like my past, like I'm still aware of that. And I do the Spirit saying you can't just like take that chunk out of your brain, right? It is going to be there. And I think that as guidance, like just for this little part of the reading, I think that what Spirit is saying, there's a way to integrate your light and your shadow attributes, and there's a way that your shadow attributes can help you alchemize them into light. Your shadow attributes are important just as much as your light attributes. Light cannot exist without darkness. Great quote. I don't know who said that, but yeah. I also feel like your desire has to do with spiritual knowledge of some kind. So maybe some of y'all want to be like a Reiki master, or you want to do tarot on YouTube, or maybe you want to sell spiritual products or wellness products of some kind. Maybe you guys want to be a psychologist as well. But apart from those physical aspects, this question goes way beyond that though. This question goes towards your inner self, your individuality at best. So what I'm feeling here is what you guys are desiring is coexistence. Like, yeah, coexistence, cooperation between a spiritual and a physical realm. You want to find a way to blend and integrate that, which is beautiful. Beautiful. I feel like you guys want to bridge the gap between what you understand spiritually and apply it to the physical world. This could look like for you getting into spiritual groups, getting into your spiritual gifts and sharing that with friends, maybe. Or this could look like going to I don't know, like something cultural, right? Maybe like church, like finding a way to bridge that a bit more here. You don't need to be religious for this to resonate, but I feel like your deepest desires are to alchemize your inner shadows, your inner wounds, your inner self, especially the parts that were conditioned against your explicit permission. You know, I feel that, and why I say it like that is I also explained this in pile 1, and it should be explained here, that when we are younger, when we are kids, we don't know what boundaries are, and we've got all these adults, these other people giving us narratives on how we're supposed to live life, and how scary life is, and how threatening it can be, and how fearful we should be. So, you know, as kids, when we're surrounded by that, we don't have any other choice but to believe them in order to make it out, right? We don't have a brain of our own just yet. So it's either we believe them or we're on our own, right? So I almost feel like right here what's going on is there's a need to balance your past, your present, spirituality, practicality, and to bridge a gap here. Like, there could be some sort of like cultural or generational gap. Maybe you are a first generation college student watching this, could be, but there's something about a gap. There's something about a gap in the family, or a gap in, I don't know, college, university. There's a gap in your community and you're wanting to bridge that. It's not that you're bringing something to these unhealthy people that won't change, obviously. There's something about you creating something entirely new and bridging the gap that has always been there. There's something about community here very strongly within yourself and other people. But I think that right now your deepest desire is to just focus on yourself as a whole. I think your deepest desire, I'm not going to lie, I felt this in the beginning. There was this weariness I was picking up, and then someone said, like, I just want to give up, like I just want to let it go. So I don't know if this will be for all of you, but there's someone who's really tired here. There's someone who's really struggling to have a balance with spirituality and practicality, and that their life is just changing, like doing a complete 180. So I almost feel like your deepest desire is to have some stability right now, and to honestly stop fighting. There's this feeling like I don't want to fight anymore. I don't want to resist this. So I feel like your deepest desire is to just find some peace and some relaxation and to go with the flow, right? And with the full moon in Pisces, this is an illumination about cycles, about our emotional and our subconscious cycles. So I feel that what you're desiring is some sort of truth or some sort of clarity from your past. This could manifest as you wanting closure from someone else, which is absolutely, I feel, is within our right if we do want that. I'm not going to tell you what to do. It's within, you can decide that. I feel that there's also a need, a spirit is saying that there's a need to get closure from within yourself too, from your past. Like almost to reassure your inner child a little bit here, and to say, it's okay now. Like, I've got you, and it's okay, you're safe. There's almost a need to do a sit down with your inner child. to reassure them that that chaos, that stress, that event is over. We don't have to react the same way as we once did to survive. Yeah. And I feel that your deepest desires are to find a balance with doing shadow work and also embracing life. You don't want to miss out on life by going too far in your past, right? But you also need to embrace life by healing your past, right? So there's kind of like a duality here, like I mentioned in the beginning. I feel like you guys are very intelligent. You have a charismatic way of explaining things. So maybe you guys are good speakers, which I love communication, so amazing. I feel like your deepest desires is maybe you want to be like a public speaker for these kinds of inner wounds, inner trauma, or just healing of some kind. Like you want to be a motivational speaker. So I feel like the more you go inward to realize these things, the more you're coming outward to advocate for yourself and other people, right? I feel like your deepest desire also, I'm hearing for some of y'all, is to advocate for yourself when you couldn't. So there's almost an awareness of like how you were powerless in situations in the past and how you were just a kid, or how you were just, I don't know, meant to be. And then all this shit happened, you know, trauma and or these toxic narratives, and now you're saying, now grown up you is saying like, I wish I could have been there for myself to advocate for her or him or this inner child in me, right? So I almost kind of feel like your desire is to advocate for yourself and to therefore advocate for others too. You want to step up for the underdogs and step up for yourself the way you couldn't back then. There's a feeling of that, and there's a feeling of like, well, I want to learn from my past and embrace the present. Like, how do I? But there's still like a gap. There's still like a detachment or a dissonance there. And I think the spirit is saying it's okay. It's normal. And actually, the more that we heal, we are going to have a gap with our past and the past versions of us. But that doesn't mean we can't hold them in respect. That gap is meant to be there because, I mean, if we didn't have that gap, too much would be overlapping. There would be too much enmeshment from our past and our present, right? So I think that what spirit is saying, this gap that you might be experiencing in yourself is actually safe and it's okay. It's meant to highlight the fact that we are growing, we are moving forward, and things have changed. And we can respect our past selves, absolutely. And we can still learn from them, absolutely, while not getting enmeshed in them as we once did. So there's almost a feeling of carrying day to day. Like, yeah, I have a past, and yeah, I have a present. Like, yeah, I'm meant to live. So there's almost a need for that. I feel like you guys are my alchemizer group. And what I mean by that, you guys go inward. You guys go real deep to heal a wound. Y'all will not rest till y'all find that wound, okay? Like, there's that feeling. Yeah, there's that feeling. I feel like you guys are just very in tune with your emotions. I mean, you have Pisces right here. I feel like you guys are very in tune. You guys might be my psychic pile too. So I feel like your desire is to help advocate for people, because I feel like you are already aware that you have these abilities to be empathic with other people, to be helpful to other people. And what's interesting is when I said that, I feel like spirit corrected me. Like when I said special, spirit corrected me and said, well, in a psychological standpoint, empathy is gained through the trauma that we experience, because we've had to learn to be there so much for other people that we couldn't be there for ourselves. And it's how empathy forms, right? So I feel like spirit is saying, are y'all like psychologists by any chance? Are y'all studying psychology? Because like, I feel like I'm the client. As a joke. I love that. I'm also studying psychology too, so I get it. Yeah, I feel like what's happening is you guys are already so aware and intelligent. Yeah. But I feel like ultimately what you want, your deepest desire, is to have people listening to you and to have people rise up. You want to be surrounded by a very healing community. People who understand the way that your mind works, people who understand the flow of emotions, right? You can't have one neglect the other. Both are equally as important. Don't mind me, I'm gonna reapply some lip balm. That girl has been speaking for a very long time, but I almost feel that what y'all really desire is a community of people who not just look up to you, but there's this humility. There's a sense of humility within yourself where you're able to just look at people and be like, I can meet you at your level. Don't worry about me being the higher authority or anything. Like, that's not the point of what I'm doing. My campaign, my advocacy, my speech. I want to meet all of you as much as you meet yourselves and me. Like, there's this feeling of you getting one-to-one, right? Sometimes people in authority or higher positions believe that they are higher than other people, right? And it creates this like imbalance. But like with you, it's like this. These are the people, this is you, and like you're just like meeting them at the same point. So I almost kind of feel like you want people, and it doesn't even need to be like you have to have a huge following. Maybe you want like a family of your own where you raise your children, or if you want children, okay? Maybe you want to have a partner that believes in the things that you do, and therefore you want to instill these kinds of things in your children the way that you didn't have when you were growing up, right? So there's a need. Your deepest desire is to share knowledge, share some sort of knowledge, either with your friend group, your children, your lineage, your partner, or you have a huge following, or you want to gather a huge following and start advocating on YouTube, or start advocating somewhere on a blog about the things that you experienced and how you're healing from them. So, and that is so beautiful, because we want to hear you. We want to learn from you. We want to see you. We want to value you. And I would love that, you know. In fact, we need more people who are willing to be honest about the things that we truly face and go through, you know, not just as victims, but as healers. And as, because I'm not gonna lie, like, I don't like slapping a label onto someone and being like, oh, like, you are a victim, right? When we are so much more than that, right? So we need more people like you. Thank you, pal, too. And I feel that what you really desire and what you want is to understand your emotions the way you were shunned, right? There's this feeling of like, I need to release control of my feelings, control of what they're meant to tell me, control of how they're meant to go. It's just breathe. And I feel like you are inspiring me, pal, too, to also do that too. And I've been practicing that. So honestly, amazing. Like, I can feel your energy and it's just so serene. You want sereneness. You want to develop this sort of calmness through your feelings. Like, transmute. Okay, I'm feeling angry. Let me validate this anger. Let me maybe, I don't know, punch a pillow to get it out. Maybe just let me vent for a minute, and then we breathe. We come back. We recenter, and then we get our shit together, right? There's almost a feeling of that. I'm wanting to process my feelings in a way where it's safe and healthy, but doesn't neglect, shame, or abandon them. You're like reteaching yourself that. And I think that your desire is to help get closer to yourself and your spiritualness, your spiritual truth, your inner truth. Wow, I feel like I'm channeling a lot. Wow. And ooh, wait a minute. You know what this looks like? Okay, I'm gonna get a little bit graphic here, but like bullet holes. I don't know why. Like, that just stood out to me. Spirit, what is the meaning of that? Okay, what is the meaning of these bullet holes? I don't know why that just kind of jumped out at me. Maybe I'm watching too much Chicago Fire, Chicago MD, whatever you call it, the show, but listen, the show is really good, okay? I don't know if y'all have seen it, but like, it's really good. But anyway, oh, now I know. Thank you, Spirit. Okay, so what Spirit is telling me is your deepest desires have led you here to the point where you are able to, oh my God, wait, Paltu. Oh my God, which one do I say first? Okay, I feel like what's happening is your deepest desire was to go inward, to see yourself, to heal yourself, to be with yourself, and now you are here, and these bullet holes represent you being able to breathe again. Like, you're seeing clearly, you're seeing the other side to life. You're acknowledging all perceptions to life, all sides, everything, duality and unity. And what's happening is these bullet holes are being created because that barrier that you had, those walls are being perforated. They're being not brought down, but like, you're able to see through them now. You're acknowledging the wall is there and the barrier. You're not changing it. You're not removing it. It's just, you're looking through the holes right now and you're seeing, oh, there's a different perception and a side to all of this. There's a different meaning entirely, and this is where I'm meant to be. Oh my God. Okay, this is so cool. I feel like with pile 2, your deepest desire all along was to meet yourself, see yourself, heal yourself. And maybe this wasn't even apparent at first. Like, no one really wakes up and says, I want to heal. I want to do a complete 360 and fix my mind. No one does that. It's life that continuously gives us external shitty moments that makes us realize that, okay? And I feel like that's what's happened here. And then eventually you owned your truth of that. Eventually it became your desire to get to know yourself. Eventually it became the right. It became comfortable for you to get to know yourself at this level. Although it's still hard to feel your feelings and go in your past, yes. I feel like you've already acknowledged this process and what it looks like for you. And this is where you are now. If not here now, then like you will get here. Wow. Beautiful. Beautiful. Chef's kiss. Okay, where's my tarot cards? Here they are. All right. Let's talk about what is holding you back, pile 2. What may be holding my pile 2s from their deepest desire, spirit? What's holding them back? Death. Ooh, okay. So let's talk about this. Why do we have the death card? Okay, so death card is associated with Scorpio, the transformational sign. What's holding you back? Oh my God, wait a minute. Your old shell. Yeah, okay, look. Okay, so we have the corpse right here, which represents the past to being dead, gone, buried. So what's happening here is I feel like maybe you were holding on to the past parts of you that were in a way rotting to you or dead or just not sustaining life anymore. And it's just still, it's just, there's nothing to bear. So maybe you were holding on to aspects or parts of yourself that were once beautiful or in your mind, or that were once reminiscence of your past, right? And there's this feeling of, I'm not ready to let go of that past part of me. And honestly, like, that is understandable, because when we heal, old parts of us die, old habits die hard, basically. And like, it's perfectly okay to mourn this past part of you, right? It's perfectly okay. And in our own time, we'll be ready to let go. And you know what they say, grief is love in a heavy coat. So this grief that you're experiencing, maybe this mourning of your past, maybe you're looking back at your past and you're realizing shit wasn't so good after all, and that actually hurts. Like, I actually was deprived. I actually was neglected. This could have been way better and it wasn't. So maybe those kinds of things are going through your mind. And I think that what I'm feeling like Spirit's having compassion for that part of you. Compassion for that part of you that is realizing this now, and compassion for the past part of you for believing in yourself. You're still here, which means your past version of you believed in yourself to be here today, is what Spirit is saying. And it's a very powerful message. And I feel like Spirit is saying it's okay to process what you need to process. You're human. You are human, and you have every right to mourn her, to mourn him or them or whoever. And you have every right to mourn what you thought was healthy and what you thought was normal. I did too. And I think that what Spirit is saying, this may actually get you closer to your desires and actually help you to alchemize this experience better. Right? This is all part of the process. We can't neglect it. We can't shame it. We can't hide it. We can't change it. It just is. And that's okay. In your own terms, when you're ready, you'll know. You'll know, because you're the one with yourself. You're the one listening to yourself. You're the one in union with yourself, first and foremost. So I feel like part of your deepest desire is to grow into this new you as well. Part of this, your desires, is to see this new person rebirth, to see this new person, this new you. You know, what are their likes, their dislikes, their boundaries now? What are they going to advocate for? Like, and what do they want to experience? Like, all of that. Who are they on the other side of this trauma? It's like you had to rebuild your identity outside of this trauma, is what Spirit is telling me. And I feel like your deepest desire is to meet this healthier part of you, this healthier version, which is honestly so empowering in your journey. I love this for you, pile 2. I am wishing you ultimately the best in this, and not just the best, but the patience and the love and the dedication to hold space for this past part of you, so that you can do what you need to do to meet this part of you too. because we're not just for everybody's consumption and everybody's convenience. You deserve to meet parts of you that you said you want to meet. Or maybe you don't even know what they are, but you know that they're there and you want to meet them. So, and you deserve the time, the space, and the time to figure yourself out, regardless of everyone's comfortability and needs, right? So let's see, how can you maintain your desires? How can pile 2 maintain their desires? The Chariot. Ooh, I love this. Okay, look at this horse. Beautiful. Okay, so the horse has a lot of speed, as we all know. The horse, when alarmed, when frightened, can do a lot of shit. Yeah, and I think that we all know that. What a horse does when it's scared, or when it's alarmed, or when it's, you know, its fight response or flight response is aggravated. And I think that what Spirit is saying here, how can you maintain your desires? And I'm really called to the red here, is to enable your passions again. And oh my god, what's so interesting is that the Death card has to do with like maybe stalemating, things dying, things ending, holding on to stagnancy. And then the Chariot is full of life, full of vitality, full of passion, wow, and strength and confidence. And I feel like Spirit is saying you have the ability to transmute this past version of you into this power, this passion, this vitality. So how can you maintain this? Connect to your vitality, connect to your passions, connect to what gets you moving. Connect to this inner capability and strength within you. Like, I can do X, Y, and Z because I know I can. And I know regardless of my past, I know that there's a new version, that there is a new part of me that is brewing and growing and has been in the makes. And I know that they will help me get here. So it's, you trust yourself now. Look at this. The horse just looks so trusting and so full of faith in itself. And it looks like it's ready to fight me, but like, bring it on, okay? Like, that's just the energy here. Like, so magnetic, strong, and confident. And I feel like how you can maintain that is working on your confidence. Work on believing in yourself. Work on your commitment to yourself and your goals. And also, the horse is wearing that chain around its neck, which honors its own commitment, which honors its own dreams, goals, values, and long-term beliefs. So honoring your long-term goals and your beliefs and having this union with yourself is going to help you greatly to maintain your desires. And also not being afraid to take risk. Following the heart of your intuition as well, because although the horse is steadfast and can get triggered, it has the moon right here. So I feel like what that's telling me is it's not just acting from a place of ego, it's acting from a place of intuition. It's acting from a place of emotion and, well, not like you're reacting emotionally, no, but you are learning from your emotions to be able to make the best move. You are listening to them actively. And as a result, it's intuition. You're embodying intuition. You are embodying the sacred form of your intuition in your body. And I think that that's what's going to help you maintain your desires, pile 2. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. And you know, with the power of the sun here combined, because we have the sun and the moon, I feel like what's going to help you is maintaining a balance. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Balance, spirituality, practicality. And then we literally had the sun and the moon here. Bro, Spirit is on point tonight. But what that means is just, I'm so excited for you, pal, too. And like, having a balance with the physical and your spiritual is going to help you a lot. So let's say you're channeling through Spirit like for a few hours, maybe 1 to 2 hours, and then like after that you hop into bed to go to sleep. Okay, that's balance. Let's just say you go eat healthy food and then you come back and you do a little bit more channeling the next day. Balance. And let's say you don't channel the other day, and you go to the gym, you work out, or you focus on your work, you focus on your job, and that's called balance. You know, you want to do a healthy amount of each thing to get you going, right? That's your advice. No, that's not your advice. Well, that is part of your advice, but we're going to get one last card for your advice now. Okay, advice for my pile 3, Spirit. Advice for my pile 3. These cards are so slippery but beautiful. Okay, look at this. I think this is the 9 of Swords. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, 9 of Swords. Okay. Alrighty, so your advice. Alright, your own intelligence can sometimes overkill. That is your advice. Your intelligence, no, wait, okay, yeah, it's getting there. But your intelligence and your awareness is so sharp that it has you looking everywhere sometimes. It has you thinking of too many possibilities, too many ifs and what ifs and this or that. And I think that what Spirit is saying, your intelligence can benefit you as much as it can harm you. It's how you use it. And I think that what Spirit is saying, you got to learn to hone your intelligence to where it's not hurting you and berating you, but helping you excel in life. So putting yourselves in your own mental prison and holding on to your past, holding on to this dual past version of you, and only staying true to that is going to hurt you, because you're not considering this new version of you that's growing too. So I also said this in pile 1 because they had a similar energy of putting themselves in a mental prison, and I told pile 1, it makes sense here for you too, pile 2. But if we have the ability to put ourselves in mental prisons, we also have the key in our hand to take ourselves out of it, right? If we can get in there on our own, we can get ourselves out. We have the key. We have the ability to do that. And I feel like Spirit is saying it is all within you. The answers you're needing, the closure you're needing, the ambition is all in you. Tap in. Take your time and tap in. And I also feel like Spirit is saying, ask yourself, how can you start using your intelligence to help serve you, not harm you? Our mind is catered to our survival, not happiness, which is why it takes training. It takes effort and patience to work with our mind, because it is for survival. It's not meant to make us happy, right? That's something I firmly believe in, because it recognizes patterns of the past, and it also tries to recreate that to keep us safe and comfortable and familiar, right? Which sometimes we're not even aware of, and it happens, and that's okay. So I feel like Spirit is saying, go find some rest, okay? Go rest. Take a break from your mind. I mean, it's always going to be chatting, but go do some meditation. Drink some tea. Go read a book. You know, get comfortable with your mind. Get comfortable with its knowledge, its wisdom. And you know what? Sometimes our brains notice things and says things that may be true that scares us, right? You know, if we're intelligent and mature enough and aware enough, and I mean that in a very respectful way, sometimes our brain is just like, oh, I see what this person is doing from a mile away. I can smell it. And then we're scared of that truth because we wanted things to be better. We wanted things to work out. And then now it's not. And it's like, you gotta make some segue with your brain, is what Spirit is telling me here. Be friends with your brain, even though it may struggle to be friends with you. But yeah, that is your advice, pile 2. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for being here. I really hope that this reading helped you get closer to your desires, how to maintain that, and how to just get closer to yourself. I loved your energy, pile 2. Honestly, I loved it. Thank you so much for being here and sharing this with me. And I'm really hope that you can help this channel. Subscribe, like, and comment. It's appreciated. Thank you, and have a good night, and bye. Hi there, pile 3. Welcome to your reading. We're going to be discussing what are your deepest desires and how to fulfill them. And we're also going to be looking at what's holding you back and how can you maintain your desires moving forward. So why don't we begin? We have, I believe this is a gape. A gape. I feel like I'm butchering this, but we're going to continue. Okay. You and your loved ones are safe. New moon in Cancer. Love this energy. Oh my god, and worry. I am learning that worry doesn't change an outcome. Let's not worry about this worry card, all right? We're gonna talk about it. Okay, so I'm gonna pull out all my cards and say that y'all are family oriented. For a lot of you, I feel like y'all are family oriented. I feel like y'all really care about community. I feel like y'all really care about the people closest to you. Maybe you don't want a family of your own. Doesn't have to be, you don't need to want that. I feel like what's important for you is the people around you and your connections and how connected you feel to people on a deeper level, especially your heart space. I feel like you embody a lot of unconditional love for the people around you. And this is such like cinnamon bun energy. Like I love it, it's so cute. I feel like you guys are my overthinkers. You guys are my little overthinkers, all right? And I feel like what's going on here is you may second guess other people's love for you. And you may try to find ways out of love. You may try to find ways out of receiving. Now, to be fair, Pile 1 and Pile 2 did have like a bit of guidance going on in their readings, because it made sense with the reading, and it made sense with the flow and how I was to explain their deepest desire. So I'm going to go ahead and do the same here, give a bit of guidance, but obviously we're going to be focusing on the main point of the reading, your desires. So what's going on here, I feel that y'all are going into a situation, or you're going into dynamics armored up. Y'all are going into situations and people and things and experiences feeling guarded. It's coming from a place of, if I don't protect myself, who will? And if I don't defend myself against this person or this thing or this situation or circumstance, it's gonna hurt me. And I have no idea what I'm jumping into, but I know what I want. And that is to feel ethereally connected to the people around me and the universe, but I don't know what's there. And I don't know if it's gonna hurt me if I look inward. And what's interesting is this crab has a hard shell, but it's entering into this new moon, which has nothing. You know, I'm not saying it's horrible. I'm not saying that it's gonna be the end. It's gonna like kill you, but like, y'all are curious. You can't help the curiosity that you have for what this unconditional love feels like, but you're worried. So for you, I feel like your deepest desire for like Pile 3, I feel like your deepest desire came to you as a form of curiosity. Like one day or one moment, maybe you saw something around you, maybe you saw a couple, maybe you saw really good friends, maybe you just saw a family sitting at a diner or a place. Maybe you saw something in a movie and it made you think, oh, what if I had that too? Is that actually real? Don't I want to know if it's real? And then now your mind is trying to find fault in that based on your past experiences, and now you're kind of like stuck, like I don't know where to go, what to do, and I'm overthinking this, and I'm worried about this process, because if it turns out like my past, it's over, it's done, like I can't do this ever again. And I feel like you are compelled to understanding your truth because it is intuitive to you. It is your intuition talking, but you don't know if you can trust that. And that's what's happening here. It's you're feeling very worried because you haven't fostered a level of trust within yourself to be able to receive what it's telling you. And it's okay to feel this way. It's okay to be afraid of intimacy and to be afraid of the unknown. I mean, it's the unknown, right? It's okay to be afraid of like what we don't truly understand and see. This is giving me the vibe of somebody who's like exploring spirituality and wants to know what's there but doesn't know what is there. Yeah, I don't know if you guys have just started this spiritual journey recently, or just like it's like you're new to it, or it's just been a minute. It's been a minute, you know, since you guys have been in the spiritual journey and you don't know what you're expecting. Or maybe you've encountered a connection with somebody that you have really deeply and you don't know what's there, but you know you feel something spiritual and you know you feel it, but you're afraid of it because you don't know what it means, which is honestly understandable. And I almost kind of feel that your deepest desire is to be connected actually on both ends, through the spirit realm and the physical realm, but you don't know if it's worth advancing because of what it might bring up. Yeah. And what's interesting is I didn't even notice this, but like there's 2 candles here in this card, like facing each other. I feel that there's something that's igniting your intuition. It's igniting it. And it's just so bright. It's very bright. And you don't know what happens when these 2 flames meet, if it's just gonna combust or if it's going to hold, if it's just gonna like conjoin beautifully. I don't know. So maybe you are dealing with someone or a spiritual connection here, or you were desiring for these kinds of deeper spiritual connections but don't know what they are about. You've never experienced that before. As a result, you're afraid, and that's okay. Overall, I feel like your deepest desire though is to have a new beginning in your emotional life. I feel like you guys are looking for some sort of emotional rejuvenation or emotional awakening. I feel that you guys are looking for some sort of emotional truth as well. Within your connections, within yourself, within the universe. And I feel like your deepest desire, part of your intuition, your soul's mission, is to uncover what this means, what any of this means. Why I even had that thinking to begin with. That thought of, is there anything more to it than just this? It sounds so vague, but I think if y'all are going through this, you will understand exactly what I mean. I also don't know if somebody just took LSD and, oh my God. Pardon me, I just looked out the window and like the snow is blowing out there. So just a minute ago, it was like sunny. What happened? All right, I feel, you know what? Are you guys like entering a winter period in your life where things have been like really quiet or stagnant, or you have been there for a while? Like, I wonder if you guys have been isolated for some time. And it was because you had to heal something personally. Like, there's something you needed to pay attention to inwardly that you couldn't ignore. And it's like now you're trying to come out of that shell, but you're not exactly leaving it. It's like a period of transition that you guys are in right now. Yeah. And I feel like Spirit is saying you don't need to completely drop your guard, your armor, or your shell. It's okay to be scared and curious. Both can coexist. It's definitely okay. So I feel like your deepest desire is to explore the truths of these realms, the universe, the things that we don't think about when we wake up, the things that require more thought, more devotion, more effort. I feel like a part of you wants to commit to understanding this, the world. Mastering your perceptions, mastering connections, mastering what the point is, right? So I don't know if you guys have just been through a dark night of the soul as well, where you were doubting, or you're feeling like nothing made sense, nothing was clicking, nothing was connecting with you, and you were not connecting to it. And as a result, you're questioning like, what even is this about? And it's sparking your curiosity. It's sparking your passion, because now you want to know the truth. Now you want to know what there is out there. It sounds horribly vague. I know. I wish there was a simpler way to explain it, but I think if you are what I'm explaining, I think if you are there, you understand it already. Yeah. And the thing is, I do understand you, pile too. Sometimes words and the language is so limiting to explain this process, right? It can be so limiting. But I also feel like there's something about, I'm getting the visual of somebody just standing there like a silhouette of a human being, and light just being shot at them, like light rays. I don't know if you felt like you just had a spiritual awakening or a sudden realization like recently, but it's like you're being shocked by the truth of something. You're being shocked by the awareness of something here, and you can no longer ignore that. Now it's taken over your being. And it's so funny that I explain it that way. Also, Spirit's bringing up the LSD thing again, the psychedelic thing, or maybe you're on weed or something. Be safe. I don't think I need to tell you twice, but yeah, I feel that maybe there was a trip you had, and then you realized a bunch of things, and now you can't shake the truths that you've experienced during that high, that trip, and now you're just kind of like, well, clearly something happened. Clearly something was going on. What does it mean? Listen, buddy, I can't really, we're not face to face, so I can't tell you what happened when you were high. I would love to know, but if you were high, but that is very interesting. Guess somebody got high off their rockers, huh? But anyway, you know, and it's interesting because we have a lot of green here, but like a lot of like blue and purple. I just noticed this very blue purplish scheme. So there's a lot about intuition, there's a lot about your third eye, there's a lot about your crown chakra, and about receiving downloads and maybe you're receiving a lot of downloads in your dreams and you're not able to keep up with them because there's so much happening. Like I'm seeing somebody waking up and having like many dreams, but like remembering them. but there's too much going on to like write it out. Like having vivid dreams, and you know that there's important messages in there, or maybe you don't. But I feel that spirit is saying that there's a lot of things happening in your dreams. There's a lot of things happening in your spirit realm. And what's interesting is that I'm asking the question of what are your deepest desires? And this starts like the beginning exploration stage of what are my desires. Like, you haven't realized your desires yet, but you're just now beginning to explore, what is that? What does that mean? Desires, is it just like lust? Is it just like materialistic things? Is it just like, I don't know, but you have a feeling that there's something more deeper behind the word desire here. Like, that's how I would describe this right now, this energy. Yeah. I also don't know if somebody likes like space and like astro themed things too. Like I find it really, really beautiful, and I like that too, just so you know. Yeah, there's something about like having a lot of higher awareness here. Like, you're tapping into a lot of higher awareness, you're tapping into a lot of like knowledge, and it's coming in pretty fast, and like you don't know what to do. But ultimately, I feel that you want to belong, that you want to be understood, either by these spiritual beings and by people too. You want to have a better, stronger connection to what is around you right now. And the craziest thing is, I also kind of feel like I'm high. Like, I'm not literally high, but I feel like I'm experiencing the kind of high that y'all had. Like, do you feel it? Do you feel it? There's something around me? Do you guys not hear it and feel it? The energy, like, there's something about that. So you guys are really tapped in, whether you're high or not. I feel like you guys are really tapped in, but you're just afraid of the messages coming through. You're afraid of what it's telling you. You're afraid of like where it's coming from even. So maybe you guys were like skeptical. Y'all did not believe in spirituality as much. You maybe heard of it, but didn't really dabble in it. And now you are, and it's kind of like, oh, what's happening to me? Like, you know, I got high once. How am I here? You know? You know, I almost kind of feel like y'all do care. I think that y'all are tapped into your heart and your intuition, but are exploring it. You're using your mind to explore what this is. So I wouldn't say you're exactly comfortable with your intuition, even though it's been there and you've been aware of it. It's just more so like you're taking a more logical approach to your intuition. And it's like, how can you put logic on intuition if intuition is intuition? You know, it's kind of like, intuition is not logic, and it's called intuition, not logic, for a reason. So yeah, it's like you tried to out logic intuition, but intuition was never logic to begin with. You can't win that. So that's really funny, pile 3. Oh my god. I feel like y'all like to make corny jokes about this too. Like, shit, here's what I'm going through, here's what I'm experiencing, you know? You know, and for some of y'all, I also feel like you're ready to dip your hands in something new. Some of y'all are open to this unknownness, this exploration of your desires, this exploration of what could be or what is. This inner exploration of yourself. I feel like some of y'all are actually open. Y'all may not be so afraid, but still time to time get worried, get anxious about it. But I feel like you have an awareness already that if you explore this, it's going to lead to more inner advancement and more inner completion, more inner solitude and sanctuary. There's a truth that y'all are trying to find right now. Actually, I want to pull like a card. Where are my cards? Oh, here they are. I want to pull a card for this energy because this is actually incredibly interesting. What are my pile 3's desires with this Agave card spirit? By the way, these two are like connected, like the artwork and the same creator, Kim Kranz. I love her artwork. 7 of Swords. Ah, okay, got it. Okay, this is so cool. So you know how the fox is just like sleeping on the sword, but like has an eye out, not like sleeping, but like being really awkwardly sly about it. What's happening is that I feel that for a long time, my pile threes, you have been slightly aware that something is out there, but not touching it, not entangling yourself with it, not engaging with it, because you were so afraid of what could be. So you've left it alone, like in an avoidant way. Pile 3, are you my avoidant pile? I think so, but we all have attachment styles, so no worries. I mean, it's not really like the end of the world, right? We just work with it. But I feel that for a long time, when it came to this unconditional love, you have been aware that maybe there could be something better, but you have never like taken action towards that truth. You've never really tapped into this truth, never really tapped into this wisdom, and now you are in your stage of life, and part of your deepest desire is to figure out, okay, then what is this unconditional love? What does that mean for me and other people? Why do I keep running away from it? Why do I keep running away from love, from intimacy, from faith, from spirituality? Why do I run from these conversations or these topics or this thing unfolding in my life, right? Because the Seven of Swords is about avoidance. Also has to do with like illusionment as well. So I almost kind of feel like you've had like illusions when talking about unconditional love and what that looks like and what that should feel like. And I think that what's happening right now is, I heard reconvening. This is such a deep energy, because you know what I'm feeling? This is very soul-like. This is not just your typical Tuesday where you get high. Okay, maybe somebody did get high here and it led to a soul truth, yeah, but this feels less of a typical Tuesday, if you know what I mean. This feels more like something of my soul is wanting to break free and come out and is urging me to pursue this because it's important to it, not anything else, not anybody else. And the soul doesn't belong to anything or anyone else. The soul doesn't need anything other than itself. That's what I believe in. So what's happening right now is I feel like you are getting in touch with your soul, pile 3. And while it may not have been your initial desire, I think you're going to soon understand why it's important that you do this. And what I mean by that is it's because it's important to get in touch with our individuality, to get in touch with the parts of us that were and is and are without opinions, narratives that weren't ours to begin with, and weren't something we created, right? And what I mean by that is, I have explained this in all piles. When we are kids, we are given narratives and things against our will, against our explicit permission. And what happened here is your soul is trying to break free from that. Because did you have any say in creating those narratives as a kid? No. You just had to believe them in order to survive, because it was the thing that was normalized at then. Even if it wasn't healthy, even if it wasn't safe, even if it just, I mean, it felt safe, but it wasn't good. It wasn't healthy. It wasn't nourishing. And I almost feel like your soul right now is on a mission. This is a very important mission, pile 3, for you. And it's not about anybody else. It's about you and your discovery and your heart's truth. And I feel like your heart is trying to break free from these cycles of self-sabotage, especially. And the sabotage other people created upon themselves and then thought that was normal and passed that on to you, right? And the thing is, I feel like you guys are always like out to have your back. No. You guys always feel like there's something out to have you, or there's something chasing you, or there's something after you. Like there's some sort of karma gonna catch up to you, like some bad karma. I don't know where this is coming from, pile 3, but like y'all might just feel like you can't trust the universe or something. Y'all cannot trust your faith. Y'all cannot trust yourself even. And it's created more dissonance, more detachment. And I feel like Spirit is saying, not everyone or everything is out to get you. Where in your past did you feel this way? And what situation or what situations did it arise from, this feeling? Because if it was from your childhood and if it was from your family members, then that is where it came from, not Spirit itself. And I think that Spirit is saying that very specifically in a respectful way, because it's important to realize and not project our fears. And you know what? It's something that we all do. It's okay. Like, it happens. We just need to take accountability. It's okay. Like, this is a safe space. I do it too. You know, I also get afraid of trusting Spirit because, like, my mind, Sometimes I'd rather believe the people of my past than spirit, who's helped me all along, even if those people in my past did nothing for me, right? So it's kind of like that. You got to see where your projections are coming from and how you're unfairly projecting that on your experience right now and your possibilities as a human being and as a soul person. How are you limiting your experience on this earth by rejecting your path, right? Your desire right now is to do a lot of exploration, a lot of inner truth, a lot of inner diving, a lot of like inner, what do I want? What does this mean? What did I go through and how did it affect me? And what do I need to alchemize? What do I need to transform now? And how do I release this old shell to fit into a new one? Because I'm gonna end up outgrowing this old one to fit into a new one. Yeah. So I feel like your desires are definitely about inner transformation and exploration during this moment of your life. Yeah. I almost feel like you are still exploring your desires. You don't really know what you want, and that's okay. Many of us don't know what we're doing here as human beings either. I mean, we're just following a 9-to-5 schedule. Maybe we're in university. We don't know what we're doing. We're just doing what we're told, if you think about it. The entire point of our lives is we're just doing what we're told and what's normal. We just mimic everybody else. So, holy shit. Okay. Anyway, listen. Pile 3, you were kind of breaking my brain, but I love it. You're making me think, okay? Y'all have really, really interesting minds. I wish I could talk to y'all, like just have a conversation, because y'all are just interesting. I love it though. I love this energy because it's inspiring me to be detached and think of like my life differently, which I really, really appreciate. So thank you, Pile 3. But yeah, I feel that for a long time, maybe you've done what you've been told to do, and that's just kind of it. And now you're being asked to do something different beyond what you've been told to do, to take action of your own, and now it's scary. So let's see. What is holding you back, Pile 3? What's holding back my Pile 3s? We're not going to take that. 2 cards. What's holding back my Pile 3s? What's holding back my Pile 3, Spirit? Justice. So this is the card of Libra. So we have Cancer and Libra here. Yeah. Alrighty, so let's talk about this. What is holding you back? You know, it's interesting that we have this sign of duality here, but I'm not picking up duality for you in this pile. I'm rather picking up that there's a lot of spiritual beings around you that you may not be aware of. And not that it's holding you back. It's kind of just, you know that they're waiting for you. Like, you know something out there is waiting for you, something bigger, and you can't quite define it, and neither can I, but you know it's there. But you're being held at a distance from it. You're being very, no, let me reword that. The way in which you're reacting to this is understandable. It's like you're holding yourself at a distance because if you get too close, it might just unravel you like that. Your distance and your detachment is in a way holding you back from exploring this further. Again, this card is about karma as well. So I almost wonder if you guys are like self-sabotaging and just saying things to yourself like, I don't deserve good things. I don't deserve to be loved. I don't deserve to experience this unconditional love. If that's what the universe or something is trying to show me, like I don't need it. There's this avoidance. There's this reliving this unworthiness cycle here. So I almost wonder if Spirit's just trying to get you to look closer at that. And what's interesting is both these cats' tails are intertwined. They're not just like, oh, like the white cat's tail is here. Like, no, look, they're intertwined. They both trust each other. They both understand the essence of like yin and yang and like combining that. Not as one thing, but as dual energies helping each other, separate. So I almost kind of feel that what's holding you back is your lack of trust in yourself. Yeah, your lack of trust, your lack of belief, your lack of, And I'm not saying this to accuse anybody. Like, shit, I mean, there are days where I don't trust myself too. So, you know, only just to help bring awareness here and promote healing, okay? And it's all right, we all do this. And I also feel that what's holding you back is your mind separates and sees things in black and white because you've done that to survive. And it's easy for you to pick apart something you don't see. It's easy for you to talk yourself out of things. It's easy for you to avoid. It's easy for you to just choose the easier path, the easier option, because if you do this, if you go down this path, I mean, God forbid some sort of inner truth awakens in me and I realize I deserve to be loved much more than I am now, right? I apologize about it being really loud. I'm by the local street. I cannot control that, but let's continue. And you know, I feel like there's a lot of control here. I feel like you may experience control issues. I feel like you may experience being very static in your actions, your movement, your choices. It's usually to benefit other people, or it's very traditional or conservative of you when you make choices. It's not leading you to your fulfillment, rather it's just what's best for others, right? So that's also holding you back. All right, let's look into how can you maintain your desires. Spirit, how can pile 3 maintain their desires? How can pile 3 maintain their desires? We've got 2 cards flipped out here. Oh, okay. Ace of Cups in reverse. Okay, interesting that came out. I feel like this does go back to like what I said previously about being closed off emotionally to your truth and exploring what that could be like. How can you maintain it? Well, if I'm gonna be honest, usually when the card is upright, the water's being held. But if we put it in reverse, all the water comes out. Y'all need to release how you're feeling. Y'all need to get comfortable with your emotions when you're ready, of course. But eventually you'll have to on this journey if you do decide to interact with this, right? You can't hide from your emotions forever. It sounds like a threat, but it's not. I feel that there's and you know what's interesting is it's all blue here, but out of the cup there's just like a lot of light. So to me, what's that telling me is there's a need to release your light, not keep it trapped and conserve it for survival. There's a need to get out of survival mode. There's a need to open up to your heart's truth and pour that out. It's going to take time. And I'm pretty sure that there would be a lot of avoidance as you do, which is understandable as you're healing. Like a lot of avoidant patterns are going to come up. But I feel like how you can maintain it is by being emotionally honest and truthful to yourself and being forthcoming about your feelings, about love, about what it is you really want out of love, whether with yourself or somebody else or people. I feel like it's about realizing that maybe you had systemic beliefs that didn't serve you when it came to love. I feel like it's about really, truly, radically accepting yourself as you are and loving yourself anyway. Through your avoidance and understanding where that avoidance came from and accepting it, that you do, you know, maybe struggle with avoidant tendencies, yeah, or avoidant attachments. And I almost feel like spirit is I feel like that pile 3 that you guys are on the lookout to see if anybody's draining your energy too, which is needed. You need to have that awareness so that you can do better for yourself. But I almost feel like spirit is saying you don't set boundaries when it comes to that. When you notice it happening, you may struggle. So I feel like how you can maintain your desires is by starting to understand, what are my boundaries? Explore that. That's part of your truth. What are my boundaries? What am I not okay with? What am I okay with? And what does my heart feel when it comes to this situation or this person or this thing? You got to start slowly by trusting yourself here, cultivating that trust, cultivating that inner emotional availability, right? Because I almost kind of feel that I'm being told that there's a drought. You know, there was a well and it went dry, and I was like a drought. And it happened over years because there's a lack of emotional availability in yourself. Yeah. And now, all of a sudden, now you're submerged in this emotional awakening, truth, spiritual awakening, some sort of recognizing, I don't know, but I hope y'all get what I'm saying. I almost kind of feel like you're thrown into this emotional loop. And it's hard because you're realizing so many things. There's a lot of illumination, or there will be, and you know you've been avoiding something for a long time, and you know it's going to catch up to you. It's like, you know, you were trying to outrun an emotional truth, and now you can't. Yeah, that's the kind of feeling. But I almost feel like Spirit is saying you don't have to blame yourself. You don't have to guilt yourself. At some point, yes, it was going to catch up. It's going to play catch up with you. And here it is. And you can maybe start learning from it now. Better late than never. Right? Because without our emotions, we cannot have a full experience. It's like, you know, ice cream tastes good, but when you try to taste it, you don't taste anything. You can't enjoy it. Because now you don't have, like, well, the taste buds for it. I don't know what happened to your taste buds, but it's kind of like along the lines of that. You know it's good, but like, you can't immerse yourself in it because your senses aren't working. So that is the point of why you're here, exploring your desires, because you need to know what you like and what you don't like, what you'll tolerate from yourself and other people. But more than that, it's also spiritual. Alrighty, let's get you some advice for my pile 3s. I don't know why I just heard Daddy's Home for me. It's from, I believe, Neo. So maybe y'all had just like a lot of home problems. All right, we have the 8 of Cups. Wow. I feel like y'all have just been going through it. If that hasn't been aware, like if that hasn't just kind of been the theme here, like, yeah, this is just confirmation. I feel like y'all are worried that you're going to have a lot of core beliefs taken down too, because you know when you go through a spiritual healing process, it doesn't leave you the same. So some of y'all are actually afraid of being better. Some of y'all are actually afraid of changing for the better, and y'all are afraid of having your beliefs dismantled or your dreams and hopes shattered throughout this process, because everything that you once saw is now not capable anymore. It just can't work because the intention of those beliefs were for survival, not happiness, which means they needed to change, and which means you got to change. And I think you already know this. Yeah, I think Pile 3 already knows this. And I almost kind of feel like you may feel that the intensity of your emotions are too much to be able to see any skyline or any horizon. And I feel that as your advice, it is important to walk away from these things that are hurtful and things that were once important to us. And I don't mean that our dreams have to be done forever, but they do need a transformation here. There needs to be some sort of emotional journey or exploration, because in the original Rider-Waite deck, you'll see somebody walking away from these cups. They'll be going in an opposite direction, and I feel that Spirit is saying there's a need to leave behind, when you're ready, of course, when you choose that, there's a need to leave behind these systemic unhealthy beliefs about your emotions and feelings, and avoiding your spiritual truths, and to travel in a different one now. There's a need to alter your intentions, your course, your perception. A lot of it is perception based, and I feel like Spirit is saying as advice, yes, your perception is going to be altered and changed, so will your intentions, but it's because you're trying to navigate your desires and your truth now. Yourself as an individual, not the next person sitting beside you, not the personality you may have sucked in to survive from that other person or other thing, right? Not the one that you created in order to make it out of your childhood home. So in a respectful way, I mean that Spirit is saying to honor this path, to honor and process this as much as you can, and to let the feelings come and go. And to get comfortable with feeling, because truthfully, we can't ever stop feeling. It just won't work if we try to run from them. And of course, if you need support, to always reach out if you can with people around you to start building that, to start engaging in that, if that's something that you would like, you know. But I feel like Spirit is saying that there's going to be a lot of things to leave behind, to walk away from, and it is going to come up to be shed and released, and it's going to be like a period of heaviness. But eventually this Ace of Cups will turn upright, and you will feel rejuvenated, and you will have this new emotional beginning within yourself. And as a result, you're going to feel connected to the people and the world around you. You're going to have your spiritual truth. You're going to have unity in yourself. And I think that's what you're longing for here, is a sense of unity in yourself, a sense of meeting yourself emotionally. I think that's your desire. And I think how you can fulfill them is by walking away from these unhealthy systemic beliefs, and by processing what really happened, and by processing what happened at home, your childhood, and your inner child. Yeah. All right, pile 3, thank you so much for stopping by. I really hope that this helped. This was a bit of a heavier energy, but no problem. Like, I've navigated much more. I really hope that this gave you the answer you needed, and please help by liking, commenting, and subscribing. It's a great help to this channel, and it also motivates me too. So thank you so much, and have a great day or night. Bye.